Eat my shorts.
Hey everybody, welcome to Eat My Shorts podcast. This is the podcast where I take your childhood and I slap you in the face with it. This is the first ever episode that I've ever done where I am recording, where you can see me, in person. You can hear the podcast anywhere, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, stuff like that. But you can now see me, and it feels intrusive. But you're here in my toy room. My daughter's off to the right here, so she might say some things. I don't know. She might talk occasionally, might make a point. I don't know. She may not. She might just stare at me. That's just what it is. It makes it an awkward situation. But no, I haven't done a podcast in a real long time. It's been a long time since I've actually sat down, recorded. The last episode we did was with Mr. James from Valley Wrestling Connection in Southern California, which happens to be where Justin Reich, myself, does the commentating for VWC Wrestling. So you can find some of that stuff on YouTube and their social media, valleywrestlingconnection.com. And going forward with the show, which is going to be really great, more interviews. I can't really think of a time that I've ever been more excited with doing this podcast. I restructured it. I think it's going to be something that you guys will like a little bit better. You'll get kind of engulfed in my world a little bit. You can see what I like. Before, Eat My Shorts podcast was very nostalgic based, where it was 90s and 80s. And we talked about the top 10, Happy Meals, that we liked the best, when Cynthia would be on the podcast. My main focus now is going to be what I dig, what I like. The world's really crazy right now. So I just kind of want to give you a break from all of that. You can stop, you can watch or listen, and, enjoy a little bit of what I geek out for. And when I interview people, when we start interviewing wrestlers and other people that are in the wrestling industry, some entertainers, we're going to have a good time with it. I have coming up on the show, not today, but in the next few weeks or so, I have Kaz from TNA Wrestling, but also Lake Elsinore Storm. He's a local announcer and hype man. So he just started working with TNA Wrestling. He will be on the show, and we're going to have a lot of indie wrestlers coming up as well that I can't really wait to get on the show. More content is coming your way. It's been a long time, guys. It's been a really long time since I've done this. And you've got to be asking yourself, like, where have you been, Justin? Why are you not doing weekly shows? And to be truthful, I say this every time I take a long break and then I come back. Life is crazy. Life is busy for me. I have a real life job. I have I have house, to take care of. I have a life to take care of. I have bills to pay, all of that good stuff. And genuinely, this has been a very tasking, difficult thing to put together every week. And finally, what I did was get the right equipment, slowly built up what I have. And now you guys are able to see me and here on YouTube, and can follow the journey a little bit on Eat My Shorts podcast and watch it grow. Since I've started doing commentary for VWC, I started missing the entertainment aspect of my life. I really loved performing as a kid when I was in high school, and I always liked radio, and I'm aging myself when I talk about, back in my day, I listened to the radio. But I really grew up like typical to my age range, Howard Stern, those kind of guys. And I always thought, I want to do radio. And then podcasts took off, and then video podcasts, and then interview podcasts, and all this stuff took off. And I missed it. And I know that I really enjoy doing it. So I hope that you enjoy watching. If you want to do me a favor, I'm going to do the typical podcaster thing and give me a follow, give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me a hug, all that jazz. And, if you are listening on Spotify, hit that follow button. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give it a follow, and give it a rating, please. If you can, give me a 5-star rating. It helps the algorithm. It gets it out there, and we can talk about all kinds of things. On this episode, I just thought I would kind of sit with you guys and reintroduce the show a little bit. If you're new to the show, if you've never heard Justin Reich's Eat My Shorts podcast before, and I've been saying Justin Reich. I know that people are like, in the last few episodes, you were Justin Arredondo, and that is my real name. But Justin Reich is a performance name, and I want to connect the wrestling world with what I do. And because I'm a big wrestling fan, I don't know if you can actually see my toy room, which I've talked about for many years, is behind me. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I'm a big belt nerd. I love professional wrestling belts. I love, professional wrestling action figures. I love all action figures from my nostalgia. My top three being pro wrestling, Power Rangers, and the Ninja Turtles. That is my I don't know. It's like my favorite thing in the world. I really those are the three that like I connected with the most as a kid. I'd even say Batman. Batman was like a big thing for me. Um, Sonic the Hedgehog and Sega Genesis were like big for me as a kid. So you'll hear me talk about those things a lot going into future shows. And when I put this show together originally, it was like I want to talk about all the geek things that I remember, but also like talk about the things that you want to talk about. I encourage you guys to go ahead and hit on some, like on Spotify, which is a great place to start. If you're listening on Spotify, you can actually leave comments under each podcast. So if you're listening to this is episode 66. Almost the 6'7". No, I'm just kidding. Oh, my daughter's cringing. She's cringing. Sorry. 6'7". No, don't do that. Okay, I won't do that. But no, we're at episode 66. If you want to leave a comment, leave questions, you can leave it under Spotify. You can find us on Instagram at Eat My Shorts Podcast. And you can kind of follow my journey there as well. I post photos of like some nostalgia things. But right now, like what I'm geeking out for the most as we're getting closer to is the Renaissance time. I love the Ren Fair. As you can see, like I'm really, really stoked on this. I got this really great Renaissance-y mug. It's got this old tree. I don't know if you can kind of see it if you're watching on YouTube. It's got a great like old tree feel. It's got a tree trunk, aluminum inside, so it's really nice and heavy. But I really love these kind of things. I love Viking type cups. So like Ren Fair is really great. I'm a big sword weaponry kind of guy. I love swords. As you can see, I have a Sword of Omens behind me. And it's what took off for me for TikTok, but I have like the Conan the Barbarian sword. Actually I could probably pull it up here. And now that I have like a video, I actually can show you some of these things as I'm talking about it. So, as I get in here, there we go. All right, so I can kind of show you guys. This is my Conan the Barbarian movie. This is Conan's father's sword. As you can kind of see, this is like one of the weapons that I love to carry around at Ren Fair. Like, and it's heavy, so I'm kind of nuts to do that. But it's a lot of fun. I I love Renaissance times. I love Ren Fair vibes. I love, I think life was simpler then. I don't know. Somewhere in a past life, I was probably like a blacksmith because I really am obsessed with shiny metals, hence the wrestling belts, hence the swords. I just always really intensely geeked out for these kind of things. I keep looking over, by the way, just to kind of make sure the camera's seeing you guys. So if I look over, it's just that reason. But yeah, anyway. But yeah, so we're looking forward to Ren Fair. We're kind of getting prepped for that. And I don't know. I'm looking forward to just checking out all the different fairs in Southern California. Really bummed out, though, because there was one that we were going to not long. I mean, just like last couple years, Cronenberg out in Corona, California. And it was like apparently like going for like 28 years. Um, and of course, when I get into it for like the year 27, 28, it's the last 2 years they ever ran. I guess apparently the land sold and bummer, right? Because I could bring all the girls, like I have, 4 girls living in this house plus the wife, and we would all dress up and go to the Ren Fair, and it's a bummer because now we have to find a new one. So I think what we're going to be looking for was that 6'7". My daughter's holding up a 6'7" sign at me. Um, She's messing with me. But yeah, no, I think what we're going for this year is we're going to be looking at what's it called? Escondido in Southern California, the Escondido Renaissance Fair. We're going to be hitting that one up. I know the one in Pasadena opens up pretty soon. And then we found out one is in Temecula, which sucks because I heard this is the first year they're going to be charging. They hadn't charged the first couple of years that they were running. So that's just what I hear. If you know anything about that Ren Fair, I would love to hear more about it. As we get closer to the time, Arizona Ren Fair is coming up. There's a lot of like great ones that are in and around the area. So I want to check out as many as I can. Kind of stoked because one of the Ren fairs that I want to hit up is where I can actually forge my own dagger, and I've always wanted to do that. You know, like hit a forge and do the dagger thing, and so I'm like really stoked on that. Um, to just make my own dagger, have my own weapon that I created, and take it with me every Ren fair. I think that would be actually a really, I don't know, be kind of cool thing. So I'm looking forward to doing that kind of stuff. And then I'm honestly on the hunt for an acorn bag for Cynthia. She likes having the little bags and stuff attached to her belt. And there's one that looks like an acorn. I don't know if you're like Ren geeks, Ren Fair geeks, but I'm a Ren Fair guy. So like I love just any of that time frame. Conan the Barbarian when I was a kid, Willow, that was a movie I grew up loving. Of course, Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I was watching that earlier today. Um, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, just a lot of that stuff. You know, I grew up just loving swords and weaponry. He-Man, which the new Masters of the Universe looks so good. I don't care what anyone says about that. The new Masters of the Universe is going to be epic. And I've seen a lot of people online just kind of critiquing things. Don't do that. That's just it's irritating to me. Don't criticize the good stuff, you know. Um, Let me tell you a little bit about me so you understand, other than Ren Fair, what I'm into. Like I said, I'm into pro wrestling. Um, and I'm in with pro wrestling. If you don't know who I am as Justin Reich, that was my wrestling name, my wrestling character. Um, and I did that for about 8 years and always had like a podcast, some kind of like audio thing, or like some kind of like I was always on social media, and I really, you know, it was a venting post for me. And around 2016, my knee got injured. Um, and it sucked because I was young enough to maybe still try to do something with wrestling, but you know, I figured at that time I had no medical insurance, so like what would I like I had to go off and grow up and get a regular job is how I looked at it. And I don't really encourage that for everyone. I don't encourage like, hey, grow up and you know, let go of your dreams. But in that case, you know, I had two kids, you know, and I had to take care of them. So I kind of gave up on the wrestling dream for a little while. And then I ran into my old buddy Jarrell Diaz, who also is like Southern California wrestling as the vegan Superman. He was Marcus Riot back in the day. Um, so I ran into him and you know, online, and he asked if I would be willing, because of Eat My Shorts podcast, to help out with some commentary, and I said sure. And I went to a roller skate rink, and the VWC was going, and I started calling the matches, and I did that a couple of times. Or a couple of shows I didn't make, and I didn't really become a staple at VWC until probably the last, like, I'd say 6 shows. I have really enjoyed being the commentator for VWC Wrestling, and you can check them out if you have a Roku. I know some old episodes are on SoCal Wrestling TV. My old buddy Degenerate John, he runs that channel on Roku, but you can also find some stuff on YouTube. ValleyWrestlingConnection.com has some clips, I know, and you can find where I'm doing the commentary at. My my whole career, I've talked about it in front of my kids, and so I think lately I've been kind of like itching to get back into the ring, and so I started training a few weeks ago. a little bit of a medical problem kind of popped up on me, and so now I'm kind of taking a step back from the actual physical aspects of wrestling. But it's not over. I think I'm going to be able to get better, healthy, and get back into the wrestling ring again, and maybe have like one more match. I think that's like my goal. Is just like one more match. And so, that's a little bit about me, where I'm at right now with my life, and like what I want to do with Eat My Shorts podcast. Like utilizing that is utilizing my wrestling career and mixing it in with my geeking out, and so that you guys know the voice of VWC. So, you get to know Justin and understand my thought train on like how all of this is, how it all connects and how it's put together. And also, I have ADHD. I'm surrounded by ADHD. So like my brain goes from like here, there, over there, and under here. And that's just how I am built. I go from subject to subject. I like to talk. So podcasting is just like a natural thing. It's just something that worked for me. So that's a little bit about me and why I'm doing the show and why you know, why it's important for me to do. And I got to start doing it for me. Regular work is just, it's fulfilling in a different way for me. I'm in aerospace, and I think that that's really great. And it's provided my family a really great life. But for me personally, this is what my passion is. This is what I love. This is what I wish I could do. I wish I was doing a podcast for a living. And so I'm not one to ask for help, but what I'm asking for is if you like anything you're hearing, if you're liking the show, if you like what you see, if you're enjoying me, just give me a subscription, and follow me on YouTube or TikTok, wherever you see me. Interact and talk and ask questions. Ask questions as much as you can, and I will bring them up on the show. I definitely will. And I look forward to growing the community and getting Eat My Shorts podcast a little bit more out there. And, I got some more equipment, so it's going to be kind of fun. At some of the wrestling shows, I'll start interacting with the crowd a little more, and we're going to have a really good time with it. I'll probably, just do some videos, and you'll see some more on TikTok and Instagram, more on YouTube, and this podcast will hopefully be more weekly. That's the goal. So you're here to hold me accountable. And if you like what you hear, please, like I said, share the show, talk about it, talk to me, and we'll grow together. So with that being said, I kind of want to bring up the last VWC show that I did commentary for. So what ended up happening, and sorry, got some noise here, but I want to look up everything here for you guys. What ended up happening was we got a new commentating person. Graham Denman is now a part of VWC, and he's my commentating partner. He's going to be doing the play-by-play straight lace stuff. I want to get him on the show. I want Graham on the show. I would love to have him on the show to introduce him to my audience, Eat My Shorts podcast, but also get him, more exposure with wrestling. That's always my goal, right? I love trying to elevate who I'm working with, and I think that Graham has a real. You could tell he loves wrestling. You could tell he's passionate. He understood nuances, jokes that I made. He understood some, and I want to get to know him a little bit more. Another guy at VWC that I really want to talk about, and I don't really promote him very much, and I should start doing, Mike Wexler. Mike Wexler is the backstage commentator, sometimes ring announcer. He also kind of like interacts with the crowds. If you go to VWC and any other show here in Southern California, Mike Wexler tends to be the guy who is hyping the show. And I'm going to tell a story about Mike because I think it's time that I take ownership for what I've done to him and his career. Mike gets booed a lot. There is a boo Mike movement, and that is my fault. So I'm going to tell you, a couple of years ago, VWC Wrestling was running out in Lake Elsinore at the outlets, and the outlets, if anyone knows, has nothing going on. It's just the outlets in Lake Elsinore are probably the most disappointing store area, but In this particular time, there was a carnival going on in the parking lot, right? So it was filled with people. And we had a big main event that day where we had the resident SoCal wrestler, Honest John from VWC, was going to face the famous EC3, at the time, the NWA's world heavyweight champion. And so we had a tentative, pretty big crowd. I was actually like, oh, this is pretty cool. Kaz was there from Lake Elsinore Storm. Like, it was a big deal. We had a great turnout. Great wrestlers were on the card. And then during the interlude, it was like Mike was out there talking to the audience, just talking to him. And I corralled the crowd to boo Mike. I said, when I say Mike, you say boo. And they just went with it. And I thought it was going to be a one time, one weekend, like we had like 3 shows that weekend. And it was like, I didn't think it was going to carry on. And from what I'm being told is that, like, throughout the last 2 years, when he goes out to any show in SoCal wrestling, he is mercifully like booed. He's horribly booed. And it's actually very funny because it's like something that I seeded 2 years ago has carried off into his career. I want to say that Mike at first, I think, probably was bothered by it. I think he was a little like, oh, but he seems to be like leaning into it a little more, and he kind of likes the booze. And and I'm going to say this out of wrestling character. Any advice to wrestlers or announcers, commentators? Wrestling is personal. It's art, right? You can do so much with it, and it doesn't matter the position you're in. Whether you're Ref Allen from VWC Wrestling, whether you're me, Justin Reich, the commentator, whether you're Mr. James, the owner, whether you're a professional wrestler, who wrestles everywhere in Southern California, the advice I'd give the younger group of wrestlers, the guys in their young 20s who are just starting out, it's your business. Like, and I don't mean your business like your personal prerogative. What I mean is, you are your company. You're your own personal company. You're your own business. And the one thing I'll say is lean into the reactions that you get. Lean into it, because genuinely, most young wrestlers don't tend to lean into what they got. If you have a punchable face, and I mean, like, you want to, someone wants to come up to you and just, plant one right in your suck hole, that is like money in professional wrestling. Like, if you're trying to be a teacher, no, you don't want like a parent wanting to punch you. But like, if you're a professional wrestler, having people wanting to hit you and hurt you and yell at you and boo at you and throw things at you, that's money. It goes back to 1985, the first WrestleMania, the whole thing Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan had, which was, who really drew WrestleMania 1? Was it Hulk Hogan or was it Roddy Piper? Hulk Hogan being the hero, right? Like, everyone loved Hulk Hogan. Everyone saw Hulk Hogan as like this good guy, Superman in real life, the superhero. But does it matter if Hulk Hogan is there, or does it matter that Hulk Hogan, the superhero, was going to beat the most vicious villain at the time, Roddy Piper? You have to ask yourself that. Like, would Iron Man have been important if Thanos didn't exist? And that's where I'm talking about. That's the money. If you can be hated in professional wrestling, you can make money. If you can be loved, you can make money. You can, and it's not just about money, but it really is about money in these times, in that you want to grow your business and grow your brand. And Mike Wexler's starting to lean into it. And I think more people need to really focus on their brand. There is one female wrestler right now in VWC that I have noticed works on her brand every time that I see her, and that's Karma. And I'll say that from VWC standpoint, I see that Karma from a distance, just from my observations and seeing social media. She is on social media every day. She is promoting something. She is out there. She knows how to do this. And Santino Bros Wrestling taught her the basics of wrestling, but there's something about, she's got this thing where she's good at the business end. Everyone's wearing a shirt. Heck, Mike Wexler was wearing her I'm Your Karma shirt, like at another show I saw. And so that's what I mean, is like, if you're hated, you can make yourself famous in this business. So I digressed a little bit from Mike Wexler, but I do want to say I think he's really talented. I think the kid's really great. If you want to book him, you can find him Mike Wexler on Instagram. Matter of fact, let me actually get his handle so you can actually like. I think it's Sock Monkey Mike on Instagram. You can, but he's looking for bookings for WrestleMania week. I think you should book him. I think he's great for ring announcing. He's great for antagonizing. That's a word. Antagonizing the crowd. He's great for riling up the crowd and getting them going. And I don't know. I've kind of enjoyed having the experiences working with him as well. So at the next VWC show, we'll definitely be. Oh, the lights went out. The lights went out in my room. Hold on, real quick. Hey Alexa, turn my lights on. There it is. She got it. So yeah, no. I can't wait for the next show when we're going to um get to interact again, and you'll see a difference in even me. I'm going to start promoting me a little bit more. Um, Also, let me say this, and I'm going to invite the indie wrestling people, the independent pro wrestlers. If you have capabilities of doing it through the phone or through the computer, through like your, however you feel comfortable from your own home, if you have a good setup and good mic, if you're a gamer as a professional wrestler, if you want to be on here, come on. Like I want to interview uh especially Southern California wrestlers. I think enough of them don't get enough promotion, and I want to help. I want to get I want to get more people on the show. So you're going to start seeing more interviews, and I got to work this out. Actually, I got to work it out. I need a place to do interviews. I might bug Mr. James, see if I can utilize the VWC arena when not having a show. Maybe we can do some recordings and some interviews there. I'd like to get Honest John on the show. 5-star Raymond Bright. I'd like to get him on the show. I think those two, God, man, at the last VWC show, those guys, whoo, talk about a match. That was, I mean, to call the first ever King of the Valley championship match for Valley Wrestling Connection, I could get on Mr. James for however long it took him to finally crown a champion there, but um, and I will say personally, I'm really happy that it's Honest John because he really has been the staple point for VWC wrestling. But Raymond Bright and Honest John had one heck of a match. The story that was told, the efforts that were told. If I had one critique of the match, I would say I wish Raymond Bright didn't use the glitter as much. Like when he would dive, he did it a couple times, which I thought was funny. And I get it. It's part of the character. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably very much wrong. I think the audience really loved it, but I think that it was oh man, it was such a good wrestling match. If you get a chance to see it on YouTube, by all means, watch it. Not just to listen to my awesome voice calling it, but definitely to watch the match. I think it's going to be considered one of the better Southern California wrestling matches. And if you don't go to Southern California Pro Wrestling, if you don't go to indie wrestling and you're a professional wrestling fan, genuinely you're missing out. You're missing out on going to your local shows. If you're in Los Angeles, Santino Bros Wrestling all the time, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. You have, there are so many that I don't even know anymore because I'm not fully enthralled in the business. But locally here, I live out near Lake Elsinore. In Wildemar, VWC runs there out of their own facility. So you got to go. You got to start supporting these shows. These young wrestlers really want to grow. They want to become something, and we got to support them. The one thing I'll say to the wrestlers though is let me see you more at those merch tables. That's the advice I give these guys: is your business, man. Get out there, get at your merch tables, sell some merch. Heck, I'm a commentator and I'm considering putting merch out there. I don't think anyone will buy a shirt of a commentator, but I'll do it. I'll try. Shoot my shot. What? Just laughing at me. My daughter's over there sitting there staring at me, just laughing at me because I don't know. I'm a nerd. It's just what it is. But yeah, I would definitely, if you want to follow Valley Wrestling Connection, it's VWC Ignite. This is another thing I actually want to talk about, and I can pull this up right here. If you can see on my phone, I don't know if you can see it on the camera there. Anyway, VWC Ignite, if you want to be a professional wrestler and you live out near Wildemar, they actually have a school now. So it's actually, they have open ring schools, so you can kind of give it a try out. And Honest John is the champion now, is actually the head trainer, but also Jarrell Diaz, who's 20-year vet in professional wrestling. He is there weekly, and you'll get to learn from really talented, great people. And I encourage you all to if you want to be a professional wrestler, go try it out. You can do an open ring session for only $25. So if you've never hit ropes, if you've never taken a bump before, let me tell you, it hurts, and it's not at all like what you think it is. But I will tell you, you should shoot your shot and give it a try. You never know. You might be the next John Cena, and we don't know that. You don't know until you try, right? Okay, so I only wanted to do a short episode 66 because I don't have an interview, but I wanted to kind of just, hey, bring you back in, say, hey, Eat My Shorts podcast is back. But before I go, I wanted to show you some cool items that I recently got from my wrestling fandom and also from toys and stuff. So let me actually look at the toy one here. So, like I said, I am a big belt mark. I love belts, right? I'm a huge professional wrestling nerd for wrestling belts. I just was as a kid, and I finally got a really incredible, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it, an incredible variation of a real heavy, solid replica of the Intercontinental Championship from the WWF with the WWF logo. This thing is, I mean, it's solid, dude. Like, I mean, I found it on eBay. This maker made me one, and it was like garbage, right? And I argued to get a new one made because he sent me one. The metal had oxidized. He sent a better one. And I'm telling you, this is, from a geek out standpoint, this belt, oh my God, I'm a huge belt nerd. This belt resonates with me from like Razor Ramon, but like Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude, the Ultimate Warrior. I mean, you can see behind me, I have the yellow Intercontinental title, but the black leathered Intercontinental Championship, like this belt has been like so enthralled in my childhood. Oh my God, to have this thing in my collection it's awesome, dude. I love it. Let me show you a couple other things that I got recently. So for Valentine's Day, Cynthia hooked me up because, like I said, I'm a huge belt mark. She got me the world's greatest husband. I'm looking over here to make sure you could see it on the screen because it's a very mirrored finish. This is by Undisputed Belts, and she got me this, and you can see there's some photos of me and the kids and her on our wedding day. You can see it, and it's, oh my God, this is like the coolest, like one of the cooler gifts I've ever been given by her. And it just goes right into my collection. So this has been really cool. I love it. I don't know. It's on green leather. If you're just listening on audio, it's green leathered. And it's pretty solid. If you want to get somebody a championship belt, I would actually go to Undisputed Belts. It's like great for fantasy football and stuff like that. But this, she had it put World's Greatest Husband. So just waiting for my kids to get the World's Greatest Father championship too. But we're gonna get into that later. Then, hold on, where is? There's a couple of new things that I had. I don't know. I'm looking for it. It's all right. I'll show you guys more. Those are some of the things that I got. Oh, yeah. Here you go. Here we go. Yep. So, yep. Sorry. All right. So, VHSs. This is VHSs that I've been hunting for a long time, and I found Starrcade 1993. This is the 10th anniversary right here of Ric Flair Vader main eventing. But I saw this when I was a kid. I honestly in a pick and save. Now I don't know if that ages me, but it used to be called Big Lots. Now Big Lots isn't even there. So I got a hold of that tape. I've always loved it. It was the first time I really kind of discovered what WCW was. And then I got SummerSlam 94 on VHS. I mean, it's pretty amazing to get these VHSs. This one here, one of the better covers because it reminds me of Tombstone, the movie. I think that was what they're going for. The Undertaker on the cover of 1994 Survivor Series. I got this on VHS recently. And then back here, as you can see, I have the King of the Ring 94, which is, um, just I'm slowly collecting because I realize I hate the streaming services and the hold they have on us to watch what we want. I don't know if you guys know, like Amazon Prime, I heard recently changed something where they're allowed to delete things that you purchased. I have to look more into that, but I've heard rumors of that. So anyway, I'm not a conspiracy theorist on that by any means, but I do think there is something to that. And so I decided I'm going to get a VCR. I'm going to get my VHSs and build my WWF library. And the reason I stick with VHSs so much is because I think you get like more original of the original releases. Because if you watch it like on Netflix right now, if you look up King of the Ring 94 on Netflix, there's a lot of like editing. They altered things, they corrected things, like they changed the music, and the original Coliseum video still had the rights. So it's like seeing a time capsule, and that's just like that to me is like the whole reason to do it, the whole reason to collect. Anyway, thanks for watching and listening on this episode, episode 66. This was just a little bit of spent some time with Justin on this episode, and I hope that you guys liked it. Give me a follow, give me a like, and come back, and we're going to do more together. We're going to discuss some toy news. The New York Toy Fair just happened, and there's so much that I didn't bring to this episode because it's so much news that I'm definitely going to give you guys my reviews on some of the stuff. I'm hearing rumors that the Playmates toys are releasing the 8-inch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And I have the original set in my toy collection. So we'll go through that, but they're bringing them back. The original 8-inch action figures where, Tommy and all them, they're going to be in the triangular boxes. I saw a clip of that. The new Masters of the Universe figure line that's coming out based on the movie. They look amazing. You have crossovers between, I believe it's Ninja Turtles and G.I. Joe. There's a lot to talk about. And then also, of course, the WWF Mattel figures. Jakks Pacifics as well has a lot of big announcements. So I'm not equipped on this episode to discuss all of that because there's so much to talk about. But that'll be on the next episode for sure. We'll talk a little bit about that stuff. And thanks for listening this week. Thanks for, I'm going to probably pick a day of the week you'll be expecting the shows. But hey, by the time you're listening to this, it's Monday morning. So if you're on your way to work, I want to say, have some coffee, enjoy your ride. Or if you listen to me at the end of the day, then I'm sorry your day sucks so bad, and have a beer when you get home. And if you can't drink alcohol, then, just go to your pillow and cry. Yeah. Right. That's about, anyway. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on Eat My Shorts podcast.